This is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined once again by my good friend Adam Smith, head of Sky Sports Boxing Development. How are you doing?
I'm all right, Danny. Thanks. Trying to stay warm, stay safe, stay healthy with everybody. We had a bit of difficulty over Christmas. My dad and my sister and my stepmom all got COVID, so that was a tough time. But yeah, fortunately they had it mildly, so everyone's okay, and it's good that the sort of elderly generation are getting the vaccines now, and there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, isn't there? But it's tough. It's tough times, and we've all just got to, abide by the rules, keep safe, keep together, and hopefully we'll be through this year.
A chink of light for boxing fans during these tough times is, of course, the Matchroom announcement last week of their early 2021 schedule. 5 shows announced, 1 on Sky Sports Box Office, the rest on regular Sky Sports in the UK. How pleased were you with the lineup and the balance of it?
Delighted, absolutely brilliant. I mean, as we sort of talked about off camera, anything to give fight fans something to get their teeth into, and also more importantly, maybe for the boxers themselves to get out and to earn money and to keep active, because obviously, we know that this has been such a difficult, physical, mental, health time for everybody, and for elite athletes it's really difficult. We've got a lot of scholars at Sky, and they've been training for Tokyo last year, and then they're hoping it's this year, and it's very difficult when you're consumed with your sport. And I think with fighters, they know another year goes by with age as well, and you want to keep out there, and you've got to fight to get paid. And I think it's great that Eddie's come up with this fantastic schedule. I think all the promoters did really well in the second half of 2020. From Frank to Eddie to everybody on the other side of the pond to the Salons. Everyone sort of kept the sport going. Everyone dealt with the same cards, and everybody managed to put some really good fights on, and the matches were excellent. And I think that's how we kick off 2021 again. Obviously, we hope to start a bit earlier, but we're delayed until February. And fingers crossed that all goes ahead, because the 5 shows are possibly, arguably, the best 5 we've seen at the beginning of any year. I think it's a wonderful schedule. We bring Josh Warrington back, and we've missed Josh on Sky. We had him for a long time, and we love those nights out in Leeds. And when the crowds come back, we'll have more of that. But great just to get him out. I think that's important. We've got the Kelly Avanesian fight, which has been delayed, and when it was first made, on that Kell Brook undercard and called off at the last hour, it was a great fight then, but it's just increased in sort of in importance, and I think it's a fantastic sort of fight to get all our juices flowing. It's a brilliant one. Then you've got obviously the big rematch with Povetkin and White. I was speaking to Dillian just the other day, and his new trainer Harold the Shadow Knight, not a new face for us. We obviously know him very well from the Lennox Lewis days, and that's a big fight for him and for Alexander Povetkin again. Obviously, after the big knockout win he had at Fight Camp. Then you've got Lawrence Okoli and his world title fight, which will be fantastic. Conor Benn headlining a bill. What I like as well is what Eddie's managed to put on is great cards. It's got a sort of Fight Camp feel where whatever the match is, they look really, really interesting. Like your Charlton Marku fight, one of those, and the women as well coming back out. Chantel Cameron, Savannah Marshall. Can't wait for Ellie Scottney and Ramla Ali to really get going this year. And obviously we wait for Katie Taylor to come back. We're hoping sort of back end of April. But there's some fantastic stuff. I was speaking to Terry Harper the other day. She's delayed slightly, but she'll be back soon. And I think it's great. I think the women the women's period. So the end of last year was fantastic. It was booming. It was brilliant. And we had some great performances and great fights. So it's laced on the cards with terrific fights from the men and the women. So 5 great shows, and we just hope that the majority will stay together in one piece. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. We had a couple of COVID issues before we even announced the fights, and I'm sure there will be more. But let's hope that the majority sort of stay as is, and everybody gets a really good spring period of boxing.
I was very impressed with the schedule generally. The one kind of bone of contention I had, and it kind of goes against at least one of the things you said, is the Josh Warrington headline fight.
Yeah,
It looks like a mismatch on paper. And not only that, since I was originally disappointed by it, Warrington's now given up his world title as well. which seems to take a little bit of a sheen off it, or at least have a cloud hanging over it with the whole Kid Galahad thing and all of that. What do you make of that? Would you have liked to have seen Josh defend his title in that main event?
Of course, in an ideal world, of course, you want to defend your world title. That's really important. And Josh has proved he's one of, if not the best featherweights in the world. And he did that over on BT. We built him up and on Sky. And as I said, we loved working with him. It was, going around Leeds with him as he was sort of selling tickets. He's got the dental technician side to him. He's now a dad. He was like a little Ricky Hatton, really, a sort of, another version. And Leeds, such a sleeping giant of sport, the football now. Leeds are back in the Premier League, and it's great times. The rugby's always been strong, and boxing. We remember back to the likes of Derek Roach, and the great nights we had in Leeds back in the day. Crawford Ashley and Nicola Adams, and absolutely some fantastic times. And I think it's really important that Leeds is a big base again, and Josh Warrington. We all want him to sell out big arenas or big stadiums. That's what he does, and that's a major appeal. For me, the great thing is I've spoken to Josh, during the lockdown, and he's just itching to fight. And for me, the most important thing is that he gets back in a ring. Yes, of course, I'm disappointed it's not the unification. Disappointed he's not defending his world title. But he's been out a long time. The most important thing is that he gets that rust shedded, that we get him back out there, and we look forward to a huge fight, which I think will be next, probably back end of April in May. Maybe there's some crowds, because that's what we really want with Josh Warrington. Some of these fighters who maybe aren't the biggest ticket sellers have had they've been back out a couple of times maybe, and they've had that sort of good run. Whereas because Josh is a big ticket seller, it's harder because we obviously know he's an elite fighter in Britain. That comes with a lot of finances, and a lot of that is to do with making the fans there and getting the gate lively and getting a lot of money on that. So what all these promoters have managed to do behind closed doors is pretty incredible without that gate. But of course, Josh sort of falls in that trap that we love him because he's so popular. So listen, he's going to fight behind closed doors. It's great to have him back. It's wonderful to have him back on Sky. And you've heard what he said as well. He's very disappointed. He didn't get the unification fight. And look, who knows? Maybe that can be made for the spring, early summer, or get Gary Russell over. But I think we'll definitely have a big fight next. So yes, I take your point. I agree. I'm disappointed, just like Josh is. But I'm a glass half full guy, Danny. I like the fact that Josh is back, and I love working with him before. I remember when Eddie told me, he wasn't going to carry on, and Frank, took him for a while and did a great job with him. The likes of the Frampton fight, etc., just fantastic. Yeah, and hats off to Frank and his team for doing that. But we've got Josh now, and it's great to have him back. So let's enjoy the time we have with him, and it would be great to see him fight. And he's always in action-packed fights, and it's still a very important one for him.
So projecting further ahead, of course, the fight everyone wants to see in 2021, or I should say fights, as it's projected as a 2-fight deal, is Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury for all the marbles, or at least all the ones that matter at heavyweight. What role, if any, have Sky played in the negotiations for that fight? Because you are Joshua's UK broadcaster, of course.
Yeah, no role. We're a broadcaster, and we wait to see what happens. Like you, I'm waiting to get the sort of nod that will be offered the fight. That's what will happen. Eddie will come to us and say, "Look, the fight's been made, and do you want to take it? And how do we work that out?" Obviously, BT have got Tyson Fury, so there's a lot of conversations to be had with the broadcasters. But the job of the promoters is to make the fights. Obviously, I get the ear of a few people, and I like to sort of know what's going on if I can. But actually, this one has been very much taken between the promoters, between Bob and Eddie and Frank. They've taken that, and I've even spoken to Anthony and swapped messages with Tyson as well over the new year and stuff. And they want the fight. That's absolutely paramount. But the promoters are doing their job of trying to sort of tie everything up. I think the deal is pretty much there, from what I understand. A 2-fight deal. I think that I've heard all sorts of things from rumors about what Deontay Wilder might do. Will he go and fight Charles Martin? Will has that sort of litigation or arbitration happen? What's going on over there? Usyk, it seems like maybe it's a bit a softer approach now, and maybe he'll end up fighting, I don't know, a Joe Joyce, or maybe that will happen when AJ fights Fury. Or I don't think he's going to maybe step in the way. Whether all the belts will be on the line, I mean, in an ideal real world, you and I know, we've been in this sport a long time. When it's a massive unification, the road to undisputed is always what Joshua's said. And, if all the belts are on the line, all the treasure, fantastic. But if they're not, they're not. And I think that the most important thing is that this fight is made here and now, really. I think that I've said in the last few weeks, I believe it will happen in 2021. And I'm actually starting to believe it will happen first and next for them. I think that, maybe late May, early June seems the time. Sure, we'll have to go, or we'll be invited to go to the another part of the world, maybe the Middle East, maybe Saudi again. Who knows? It doesn't look like it can happen here because of the crowd situation. And I'm hoping maybe the second one will, because, when we get crowds back, how long is it going to be before, 10,000 people are back at an arena, let alone, the 80, 90 that will be needed or that will want to be there from, you can sell Wembley or Tottenham out twice, couldn't you? And let's see where we go with the venues. But I think from what I hear, it's close to being made. And then they'll have to sort out the venue, the broadcasters, everything else. So, like you, we wait and see. But obviously, it's a fight that the world needs to see, and that all fight fans want. Most importantly, Danny, I'm just, when we've lived through sort of Lewis not fighting Bowe and Hatton not fighting Witter and Calzaghe not fighting Froch and all those sort of fights. But Khan and Brook. But I really do believe that this fight will happen, because both of the fighters want this to happen. I think there's a huge amount of money on the table, and I think there's a huge amount of pride. And I think boxing, and dare I say sport in general, I think need this. And this feels the right time where everybody needs something to really look forward to. So I'm hoping, fingers and toes crossed, that we'll get an announcement fairly soon.
In theory, are you guys at Sky willing or open to the idea of sharing the broadcasting rights with BT in the UK?
I love to share, don't I, Danny? I mean, listen, it's not we.
We're
I think we've got.
now.
We are. We've gone through many years of saying, look, we must watch Sky, and everything happens on Sky. I think that, certainly in recent times, there's been a real independence. I think we've shown that with our social and digital platforms. I think we like to talk about all fights. It's I talked about the Joyce Dubois fight more than I talked about many other fights last year. It's important, and I've always said we can't have every sweet in the jar. I'd love to have seen the Lomachenko Lopez fight. I'd love to have done, my old friend Leo Santa Cruz against Gervonta Davis and all of those sort of fights. We can't have everything. We're not in the, we're in a business, and we've got to look after our deal with Matchroom. We work with Matchroom. There's our promoters, our great partnership, our contract. And we've got to make sure that, in the UK, 9 at 10 o'clock at night, we get great fights, great matches, great buzz, to build the box office stars and to sort of follow on from the huge football and other sports that we have on Sky. So it's really important to me to be as independent and as sort of, cross the borders as possible. And I think that, we're open to negotiations, to chats. I mean, we've got BT here on our platform. They're on the Sky platform. So, my old, hero or idol, Ian Dark, is obviously commentates on BT. I'm close to Darren Fletcher as well. We talk all the time, we're all friendly rivals. And, I spoke to Frank probably more in lockdown than I did any other, bar Eddie, obviously it was on a daily basis. But I spoke to Frank a lot, and, it will be, I think it's a world event, this. And I think that the most important thing is that, that the fight happens. And I'm sure then we'll talk about the broadcasting side. There are precedents, obviously, with HBO and Showtime. We worked with them on Lewis Tyson, on Mayweather Pacquiao. And, so it has been done before, and I'm sure it can be done again. So let's just wait and see. We want the fight announced. And, I'm sure there's a few I's to be dotted, T's to be crossed, and etc. And it's not there yet. So let's wait for the fight to be done, and then they'll look into the other things. But yeah, we're open to those sort of negotiations and chats. Of course we are, and we back ourselves at Sky. We back ourselves on box office. We've been in the sport, year in, year out for a very long time, and we believe in our team and our production and all the rest of it. So as I said, we wait and see, and we hope the news will be great for fight fans soon.
You mentioned there your great partnership with Matchroom and honouring that contract as you brought it up. When is the contract due for renewal, and have negotiations already begun on that?
Yeah, both. I mean, yes, it's pretty. We've sort of hidden nothing over the years about that. It's due to expire or due to sort of run out around about the summertime. We've got a deal with Anthony Joshua, which is runs sort of parallel, yeah, separate and parallel, and a deal with Matchroom. And yeah, Eddie and I are talking on a daily basis, as you can imagine. And I'm very confident that we'll continue working together for a long time. We've got a great partnership, a great relationship, and I think the both Sky and Matchroom have worked in unison to really bring the sport to another level. As I said, I'm not taking anything away from the great stuff that BT have done, the great stuff that's been done in America and around the world. But I think that we've been right for each other, Matchroom and Sky. I think we've got a long history that goes back to the early days of Barry Hearn and Vic Wakeling, and the sports of sort of the darts and Fishermania and the ping pong and everything that's the pool and the snooker, everything that's sort of gone through the years. And boxing's been an ever present. We remember the days where Barry really left it to John Wischusen to sort out. And Johnny Wish was a great guy, and they've always been fantastic to work with. And it was great. The Eubank World Tour, when I first started, it was sort of the headlights, and then it was sort of quiet Matchroom shows for a few years, and there was a number of other promoters. Obviously, we worked with the likes of Frank Warren, Frank Maloney, Ricky Hatton, Mick Hennessy, great promoters, and and a lot of international ones as well. But I think that what happened was when Eddie came on the scene, it was about that time where boxing had a real sort of lift with 2012, with the London Olympics, with everything that happened afterwards. Eddie and Barney Francis and great ideas to sort of have less shows and big arena shows and try and get boxing sexy again and get the audiences and crowds back. And that led to Froch Groves, it led to Mayweather Pacquiao worldwide, it led to some great stuff and big stadium shows. Obviously, Anthony Joshua coming through at the same time. So there's been some amazing times with Matchroom. We've worked very, very hard. We've worked 24/7 at it, and I love working with Eddie because we discuss everything. We talk all the time, and yeah, of course we have disagreements, and we have we've got both our businesses to sort of look after, but at the same time, it's been a great flourishing relationship, and I think it went to another level with Fight Camp and with the work in the boxing bubbles at the end of 2020. More tests for us, more challenges, more operational difficulties for us to sort of push and overcome, and let's try and take Matchroom and Sky to another level this year. With let's hope that we get a great new deal. Obviously, DAZN have come into the marketplace. There's competition, and Eddie will be looking very closely at what he wants to do. But I believe we've got the arsenal and the platform and everything, and the great working relationship and the loyalty as well. Anthony Joshua has been with us ever since he turned professional, and Eddie Hearn ever since he started doing boxing. So why would they want to change it now? And I'm hoping that they don't. And let's see how the next weeks and months develop. But yeah, I'm very confident, Danny, and very confident that boxing will always have a very serious place on Sky. And whether it's a box office attraction or it's on Sky Sports, we, as I said, we've been in it every year. We haven't sort of come and gone like a lot of other broadcasters. We've been absolutely resilient. We've had arrows thrown at us. We've had our dips. We've had a lot of tough times as well, but we stick at it and we believe in ourselves. So long may that continue.
Now, we talked there about you're very confident that the deals both with AJ and with Matchroom that run parallel will be renewed. But just, you wouldn't be in your job if you didn't do contingency planning. Now, there obviously must be a plan B if the worst comes to worst, Matchroom did go another route. What would that look like for boxing on Sky? Because at the moment you work with MTK, of course, some shows, with bits and pieces, but there isn't really a firm kind of schedule aside from Matchroom, and there wouldn't be because they're your partner. But what happens if they did move on?
Well, Matchroom have the contract with MTK. They're our promoter, Matchroom. So the golden contract has come about through Matchroom, are our umbrella promoters. So they're the ones that we do the deals with, and that's what it's always been. We have gone to do some independent work with PBC back in time, many with Top Rank, and obviously other things like Mayweather Pacquiao that were very different and globally. So look, we've got a good relationship with a great deal of promoters out there. I talk regularly to the likes of Todd DeBurf from Top Rank and Araceli Villegas from the PBC sort of empire, and the Sauerlands, and we talk a lot. As I said, I talked to Frank very much through lockdown, which was great. And if we all work together on the AJ Fury fight. That's that's the bringing together of parties. So you never say never in boxing, of course. And I'm sure that there'll be, if Matchroom do decide to go to DAZN and don't stay on Sky or whatever, then I'm sure that there are many other promoters who'd absolutely love. They'll be chomping at the bit to get onto the Sky platform, and and maybe they will in time. But I believe in Matchroom. I believe in Sky's relationship with Matchroom. I believe that we've had a phenomenal journey with them, and I believe it's a journey that will continue. So, my impetus at the moment is to make sure that we come up with something that benefits, suits, and helps both, growing Sky Comcast, world, which has obviously become huge in the last couple of years with Comcast having NBC and Universal and Sky. We're a huge media organization, and Matchroom are becoming bigger and bigger as well. And Barry's still got a hold on Matchroom, and he's the one that sort of that has brought it to its point now. But I'm sure Eddie's got ambition to take it even further. And we've seen the boxing develop, and we've seen them develop and build a team and a powerful force in world boxing. So they've got their Matchroom USA stable, they've got their teams both in the UK and the US, and we all work very well together. It's as I said, a great partnership. I think it's one of the greatest partnerships in sport and broadcasting, the Matchroom Sky one, and I just really hope that it continues.
And you said earlier you want the Matchroom Sky partnership to be even bigger in 2021. That's your driving force, if you like. What does that look like? What do you want to see evolve from where we were? Obviously you want crowds to come back, but that's out of your control. What do you guys want to do?
Well, we're always looking to adapt, aren't we? We didn't know this pandemic was going to hit us, but it did. So we didn't have any sport for a few months, which was quite bizarre, having 11 channels of sport and trying to fill it with, endless debate shows and sort of, looking back. I mean, it was a great nostalgic period, wasn't it? You sort of went back and we wrote and talked about all sorts of things from the past. And, it was a chance maybe to sort of just to rethink and recharge the batteries a little bit. But you know what we're all like, Danny. We want to go again. We like these challenges on a day-to-day basis. And Fight Camp was one that took a long time to scale. There's a huge amount of organisation and hurdles to come into. Then we had to sort of work out how the bubbles were going to work. And we're really happy that we've worked so well with Matchroom to do that. So what happens next? Never sit still. This is a lesson to all of us. We've all got to look at sort of what's around the corner, what's next. I think we do that well at Sky. We do that with innovation. Looking at the Sky Q boxes, looking at sort of what we've done now with Netflix and Amazon and all these sort of partnerships and Sky Mobile and broadband and everything. No one sits still, and there's many brighter and smarter and more creative and capable people than me working behind the scenes and sort of working out, what's the next thing in the digital space, the social space, the linear space, what happens next. So yeah, we're looking at all of those possibilities and what we can do and what might sort of tempt Matchroom rather than sort of, just going for, I don't know, DAZN might throw more money at them, possibly. I don't know. But what can we do? How can we cleverly utilize our arsenal and our reach that sort of can make it a better place for the future? And as I said, we've got to learn from DAZN, we've got to learn from BT, we've got to learn from Top Rank and ESPN, all the other sort of networks and promoter sort of, backups and their partnerships throughout the world. And we're always doing that. So I'm very confident we'll come up with something which is enticing, maybe different, and that we'll have a great future ahead. But as you say, nothing's organised yet. These are talks that happen behind the scenes, and we'll make sure that we look after what's best, first and foremost for Sky, for us. And then for we'll hope we'll be able to support and help our friends at Matchroom, and we'll come out with a great solution. But I think more than anything, of course, it's important for Sky, but it's important for our customers, and that's what we've got to look at. Our customers are our bread and butter, Danny. They're everything is about our customers. Just like in boxing, everything's about the fighters and their welfare. Everything for us is about our customers, and we've got a great team at Sky who are working day in day out to try and make that better fit, and that's what we'll aim to do through all of this.
Good stuff.